So this episode picks off from last week's shenanigans when we find out that Griselda shot her husband, Alberto, and killed him in cold blood at the bar. Okay, the driver who dropped her off there is one of the ones in this scene to picks up where he's basically at her house going through old things. He noticed that her ring is left on the sink. So Fernando is on the phone, and Fernando is actually the brother, and we get to see a glimpse of him, and he's an older gentleman, he's an older man, and we see why she didn't want to actually, on top of being a brother, it's an old geezer, right? So this old geezer, aka Fernando, calls Dario, and basically he's trying to find the whereabouts. So this is we pick off, and we find accountant Arturo, and he's at the airport with a bunch of girls, and Griselda's there to greet him with open arms, thanks him for coming. He's one of the Lord's friends for her. So upon their arrival, you see that there's a lot of girls, a lot of Colombian girls. So they lining up with G's place. G has a hotel. That's what she's staying at now because she got kicked off from Carmen because Carmen found out that she's actually smuggling drugs. So at the hotel, we see how these different women are, smuggling drugs different ways, in their bras and their panties, different ways. So we basically finding out how she's getting the volume up from Raffo. Raffo is a new drug dealer that she actually is going to start partnering with. So he say he's a high volume man. This is how she get all the drugs back to Miami. Now we're introduced to two detectives. Detective June, or she's intelligence analysis. And then we have Detective Jensen, which is the a-hole. So he basically questioning Rosa. Rosa is a waitress from El Florita. That's the bar where Alberto was killed at. So he basically asking him to follow up, the asking Rosa, what's been going on? Did you see any suspicious activities? What about the drug thing that goes back there? So there's a translator in between it. So she's basically seeming like she's kind of scared of not really trusting him. But the lady, her name's June. June breaks down to her like, he's an a-hole. Thank you for cooperating. And tell me more about the woman, because in the interrogation, she mentions there was a woman who was by two men. And now they thinking, okay, was it a girlfriend, anything? So Agent June goes back to follow up question her and says, hey, what does this woman walk like? What was her demeanor? So the only thing Rosa said was she walked like a boss. And that describes G. And just like I said last week when she was leaving the, I don't know if it was casino, but when she was leaving Raffo after they made their deal, she told the ladies when she was leaving, like, hey, ladies. So I felt like she was going to be utilizing those women. So she actually, that is her game plan. She used some women from Medellin, Colombia to come with Arturo, and now her and Arturo is, embracing each other. Thank you for coming. Thank you for, being reliable. Thank you for being able to come down when I need you. So they are figuring up the master plan there in Miami to keep up the Colombian candy packaging afloat. Now, while they're embracing each other, Accountant Arturo basically tells her, be careful. I got some information, Fernando. He's sent Dario to find you. Dario is, I guess he's like a bodyguard for Fernando. He was downstairs playing cards when he dropped G off to the club. So he's like a trustworthy person. And one thing that I didn't mention last week was when she was in the back seat, he was like staring at her through the rearview mirror. He looked like he was very concerned about it. So I fast forward this episode. Now he's on a mission to track her down so he can basically kill her, so to speak. That's when Dario goes to different places. So he visits G's old job. Because like you said, like I said, G used to be a prostitute back in the day. So that when Alberto told her, there's nothing new out of your character because you used to do this. So he basically went to the whorehouse to question some of the ladies. And he ended up questioning one woman when you find out that she's kind of envious of G. So, of course, they link up with each other. And, she ended up dropping a bomb and saying, after he slides her money, she confesses that, G's actually in Miami, and all the girls who used to work here, they went with her also. So that's when he goes back to Fernando and let him know, okay, we actually found the location for G. So Carmen is not really out of the loop, so to speak, because she's actually supplying G with plane tickets to get the 12 dozen girls from Colombia to Miami. So she comes to the hotel where G's staying at, and she's basically saying, you know, I need more of those tickets. So Carmen's like, you know, you're not finna put my business in jeopardy. I should have never trusted you. And, you know, you always want to seem like you're trying to find an outway, but I shouldn't believe you anything, like I said, because you lie all the time. So she's like, you know, this could be good for your business as well as mine because we're making money. All I want to do is just make a little change for a better life. So Carmen is like, no, I should never get you involved in my business. You're not going to take me down with you. So that's when Carmen just abruptly leaves, saying, I don't care about what happened to you nor your kids. Because you're basically putting yourself in danger, and you're not going to bring me down. I done cleaned myself up in Miami, I got me a travel agency, and now you trying to take advantage of me. So away with you, G. Now we see how G ended up being lowballed. Okay, so Raffo, aka RR, he's with a meeting with Arturo and G. So he basically saying, you know, I have the kilos, I promise my word, I have the high volume, I got the suitcase full of it. You know, it's, I think she said it was 10 kilos, 25K each. So basically, he has a debt, and he was telling this guy named, so he basically tells G, I've been telling him about this woman who's going to sell me these kilos for undervalued price because he apparently owes Papo Mejia X amount of money. So he trying to lowball her, and that's when she get pissed. But Arturo is trying to calm her down, like, you know, there's some of the business dealings that happen. So she try to find a way to make up for what she's getting lost, because he basically tells her, if you don't sell with him, I'm going to tell all of the dealers in Miami not to touch your stuff, not to deal with you. So that way she won't make any money, any profit from what she has. Especially since she put these 12 girls through this over the smuggling drugs and all that. So she want to make everything worth the wait. So intelligence analyst June, she's a female. She was a female interpreter. So she basically following up evidence information. So she noticed through the evidence there was actually lipstick on the ash from the ashtray scene. She was like, you know, why is there a woman lipstick? This is usually men business dealings. So she goes to her boss over Jensen, because Jensen, this is his case. And her boss basically tells her, you know, this is not your case. You're doing too much. You're just supposed to be doing intelligent things. You're supposed to be typing memos. And she questions me and say, you know, have you ever read any of my memos? So he really don't really listen to her, because she's basically saying that there may be a woman involved with the drug dealings. But of course, he don't believe there's no woman involved in this dealing just because it's a cigarette with lipstick on it. So that's when she goes back and she feels, you know, how most women feel, I have to prove myself to you. Just like she had to prove herself to Arturo, I mean not Arturo, I'm sorry, to Alberto, that she can actually survive without him. So this Agent June, she feels the same way. You know, you lowballing me, you disregarding my evidence. So you basically double back on me, and I'm gonna show you long term. Back at the hotel, G gets back, you know, she don't have money. So all the 12 girls that sacrificed themselves to come and make money in America, they basically asking around like, you know, where's our bag at? We did what we were supposed to do. They basically say like, you know, calm down, don't worry about it. So I guess she's we'll call her the assistant to G. So she goes back to G's room, and, you know, she admired the sheets and stuff. You know, she say, you know, we didn't just come here to just look at ceilings. Let's just go have some fun. Stop worrying about them not getting paid yet. Let's go have fun. So they basically finding a marketing way to put the drugs out of them, right? So upon them going to the club or this party scene, they giving everybody samples because they want everybody to have a good time. So that's when G puts her wheels to motion, and she goes back to Arturo and basically say, we got to pitch a new plan. The guy that we was going to sell with, you know, he lowballed me, but we can take advantage of the rich white people. You know, they have a boring life. They don't really know nothing but bar hopping. So we can find a way to utilize these girls to actually give them samples so they go actually want more of it. So that's how she's trying to get her dealings and her scheme set up so she can finance her life, their life, the lives of her children, and so she won't be asked out, as you could say. So we get introduced to June's son, which is 12-year-old. And he's going to like a baseball camp where he really don't want to go. So he's basically saying, without saying it, I already understand you having a hard day. I'm just gonna go and play baseball, even though I don't want to do it. So we get a backstory of her. We find out that she's divorced, and like I said, she has a 12-year-old son. So then we see G and Arturo trying to cook up this plan. She basically wants to find the big drug lord in Miami. I think his name was Paneso. She wants to get contact with him so she can finance a front of kilos so she can actually get with the networking when she goes to pitch it to the white people. Because she's basically saying this is a demographic in a market that nobody tapped into while I'm down here. Nobody is trying to outsell to the suburban moms, the coaches, the lawyers. So this is my avenue, and this is what we're going to do. So while we're here, we need to find a front who can front us. So June says, in spite of what you say, boss, y'all can read my memo. So she goes and she types up the script, the memo that she's basically doing the investigation on for Griselda. And she basically put in there, this is a female drug dealer, etc. So after she types it up, she makes a lot of copies. And instead of the boss reading it, she's going to make everybody in the office read it, which is all men. Here you go, you get one. Here you go, you get one. Everybody get one. Everybody get a memo. So then you see the next scene where they actually reading it. And I'm like, okay, she got something going. Like I said, she doubled back on her. So now everybody gets to see this is the investigation part that I actually been doing. But y'all didn't want to actually listen to me. So let me type it up on y'all desk. And it's the first thing y'all go see in the morning. So this is what Papo Mejia scene. And he goes to meet with Raffo. Him and Raffo doing business dealings in spite of G. So they basically tells Raffo, I've been watching G in her operation. She's going to tennis courts. She's going to lawyers' offices. She's sneaky. And he compares her to a messy woman who tries to basically diminish a relationship and admit to the wife that, her husband's infidelity. Like she's an agent of chaos. So that's what Papo Mejia is basically trying to get Raffo and him to collaborate and take her down. So Raffo is basically saying, you do what you do, I'm not stopping you. If you feel like she's a threat, go with your move. So he urges him to, look stupid if you feel like this woman is trying to mess up what we got going. If you're desperate enough to do that, all right, go ahead, go with your move. So this is where agent white rich people comes in. So G goes to meet with one of Paneso's, dealers. So his name is German. German basically throws in her face, you coming to me, want me to give you 100 kilos in front you, but when I was in Colombia, you act like you were so high and mighty, you try to play me, but now you want to come at me. So she's trying to say, I was a woman, all I offered was my body, and what makes you think that I was welcome to those conversations? So they basically trying to see like they both the underdog in the situation, so we both need to come together to combat Raffo and all these other dealings that that basically diminished her. So long story short, she offers him one night, just like the one night that Alberto told him, you can fix this, you can clean this dep up, just go sleep with my brother Fernando. Well, this time she taking everything that she's been through and she's using to her advantage. So she tells Jeremy, all I need is just one night. One night and we're going to make money. Just trust me. So, they end up having some type of mutual agreement. The plan went smooth. Accountant Arturo was there, so he gives a thumbs up, so now it's off to playing rich white people. Every time something good happens, something equal or bad happens. Dario tells Fernando that she's in Miami. Dario and Fernando lands in Miami. And this when you see, okay, now the wolf home to bite. Everything's going back good for G on her side. Because she don't know that Dario and Fernando's in town. So she tells her oldest son, go ahead and order you guys some pizza. Tell your brothers I'm going to be coming home late tonight. Don't wait up. But make sure y'all pack because we moving. We finna get out this hotel because Mama got a brand new walk. She got a brand new talk. She got a brand new business venture. So her and German and Arturo are all on the boat. All the ladies who, part of this rich white people elaborate plan to get all these basic bar hopping people all on one yacht. It's a nice party. We're going to invite all these people, tennis players, coaches, lawyers. So all these people are getting, it's like a networking extravaganza party. So Arturo comes back and say, we sold 3 kilos already. And while she's at a table talking to German, she basically tells him, like, look, these ain't even rich people coming here and they spending this kind of money. They work for the rich people. So imagine what kind of money the rich people will spend once they get a taste of what I have, once they get a taste of this Colombian candy. So one of the girls, her assistant, Suji, she basically says, there was some rowdy noise outside. I need you to come and see what's up. So this when Papo Mejia is outside the boat hating, like a hater would. Come down here. You need to pack up what you got, whatever you think you got going down here. He threatened everybody in the guest list. He threatened everybody. If you buy a gram, at least a gram, I'm virtually murking you. So she comes back and say, these regular people, these people lawyers, doctors, you really trying to play yourself in front of these people? And what she said that made him feel stupid was, she said, this is not Rafael's territory, so what you here for? He didn't want to deal with you because basically you dumb and you're a loose cannon and you make yourself look stupid and desperate. So that's when, he's like fed up with her mouth because she got a mouth on her. He goes to grab her and try to pistol whip her, rim her up. And here you go. German. He say, get your hands off my partner. He basically put that iron on him and say, nah, bro. This is my part of these, my people. If you feel played about it, do something. So she questions, she said, yeah, do something. You gonna do something for all these people? Which he did. So she called his bluff, embarrassed him. All of them started throwing bottles, like, get on, man. Like, we don't need you here. This is all planned. So one of my favorite quotes that German tells her is, you have pissed off the powers that be. So that means you're doing something right. So me and you have to have a partnership. Because if you go stand up to them, I need you on my side. Because he loved her courageous attitude. He loved that she's courageous. She ain't finna just stand in the corner when the dog come. She go bite back at him. So that's when they really reconcile and say, you know what, we finna make this money together. As long as you dreaming, I'm gonna keep cooking. I'm gonna keep cooking for you. Just keep that big dream and keep hope alive. He promised her that he's gonna give her 100 keys a week. All right? So everything good, everything coping steady. She thanks all the 12 dozen women that came down and they say, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for everything that you came in Miami to do. Safe travels. She gets on the phone and she calls Carmen. She basically tells Carmen, like, Carmen, I need you. I want to give all this money to strangers. I got the business to pick up. I won. There was nobody getting hurt. Nobody got shot at, So they basically saying, everything that we've learned in the prostitution game, we learned it for a reason. Everything we've been through, we're applying it to this game. So Carmen is going back and forth with her integrity because she's like, I don't want you to be tied to me because you tied to the streets. But at the same time, you're making it seem as though you did it good, all y'all safe, and you just want to spend money to my agency. So she'd rather give Carmen the money for her agency than to just give it to a stranger. So Carmen's like, nah, you trying to play me. I already know how this goes. You just don't trust nobody. But she's like, no, I just want to share this success with you. So Carmen ends up folding. So she say, look, give me 6 hours to sleep this off. As soon as I wake up, I'm coming back and I'm going to drop the bag for all those plane tickets because I need these girls to keep coming back and forth with me. Now, on the other side of the coin, we see June. She comes in the office and she notices everybody that balled up her memo that she typed up. Everything she didn't put her time in and say, everybody, you get one. When they took it and say, nah, we don't want it. So they balled it up, slammed it on the ground. So she's just sitting there in the strip like, damn, what did I do? You ain't doing enough, June. So they don't believe in you no more. So you have to find another way for them to hear you, sis. After G's tells Carmen, I get home. So she get dropped off by the taxi. So she, take her shoes off. She's been a long celebration night. So she hear like some commotion. She thinking it's her sons, having a good time playing cards. Nah, come to find out it's Fernando and Dario. They done pulled up at the hotel. In the room with the kids. Reminiscing. Now mind you, this is their uncle. Fernando is their uncle. They grew up with these people, so they know these people. They're not finna just shut them out the room. But because G didn't tell him the full story, she has this stuck look on her face, like, you know. So he tells him, you can't fuck the funk now. Come sit down next to me, he says. Now, I want you to tell me, what did you tell him was the reason that you left Colombia? So he asks the kids. She's like, well, from what I know, this is the oldest son. He said, from what I know, Alberto hurt mama. But he like, nah, that ain't what happened. I'm like, oh, he finna snitch. I didn't think he'd do that, but he don't really care about it. He has no morals, okay? Anytime you want to sleep with your brother, old lady, to get out of debt, why would you even put your brother through something like that? So he an old geezer, like I said. And at this point, I'm saying, he trying to turn these kids against their mama. But they, from the beginning, first episode, they say they never like him anyway, especially oldest son, they never like him. But I was like, he trying to turn these kids against their own mama. So he ended up telling them, your mama killed y'all dad, cold-blooded murderer. So they looking at her how she is, and they like, no, don't hurt mama, don't hurt her. They say, man, sit down, and he proceeds to get up and start unbuttoning his jacket, unbuttoning his pants, his buckle. You hear his buckle rattling. So she's pleading like, no, don't do this in front of the kids. Don't do this in front of my children. Like, these my sons. Don't do this. So he got some type of goof to him that he, walks into the next room. She said, let's do this in the next room. They might as well did it in the same room, because everything you hear him slapping, beating, punching, choking all, you hear all this through the thin walls. So the son is like little oozing. He want to get up and go to the bathroom in the next room. Nah. Dario say, nah, sit down. And I'm looking at Dario like, bro, you finna really let this happen to these kids? They ain't gonna forget nothing like this. But this is part of the game. So the middle son end up tackling Dario to the ground. And that's when the son goes into his mom's room. He knows that was the gun. So for whatever reason, he grabs the gun and he just gets stuck. Like, he can't do it. He can't do it. He a part of the game, but the game not a part of him. Alright? So he's like stuck in a trance, like he can't move. So Dario in the next room end up wrestling the son. He comes back to the mom's room, and as G's son holding the gun about to snap Fernando for choking his mama, that's when Dario comes and tackles him to the ground. And you see this scared look on Fernando's face, like in disbelief, like, oh man, my life could have just flashed before my eyes. So we telling Dario, man, F that. Shoot him. Pop him. Murk him right here. Dario still sitting there just like the oldest son was. Contemplate. Do I want to do this? She looking at G in the eyes, and that's why I say the same way the remorseful feeling that she had in the eye in the back seat when she left from sleeping with Fernando, he was driving her to the bar. That's the same look she had on her face. So he didn't even try to kill the kid, because he's not a kid killer, he says. He ends up shooting Fernando right there, cold-blooded, in the same spot where Alberto got shot, right in his head. She thanks him and, basically say, why you did it. What she want to know is, what made you do that? Thank you. He said, I ain't do that for you. Well, what you did it for? She says. He says, I don't really know why I did it. I'm just not a kid killer. I don't do nothing like that. There's nothing in my moral character to turn me against a child. So basically he turns the bullet on his friend, and she said, I need your help cleaning this up. When we finish cleaning it up, and then we'll talk. So Dario became the villain, but he became the hero in this whole situation. So I'm like, oh man, thank you. She got someone on her side. And I really think the only reason Dario didn't kill the kid is because he saw the turmoil on her face and how degraded she felt and how she looked when he first picked her up and dropped her off at the club. So all these things going into motion with him, so I'm feeling like, okay, he probably finna be one of the security team top trainers, so he finna be her hand in hand. So shout out to you, Dario, for being a hero. And that's how this episode ended. I'm trying to see how Arturo's going to turn out, his character's going to turn out. I'm going to see why they let Fernando and Dario cross the borders in the middle of an investigation. And I'm trying to find out, will Agent June be a part of protecting G, or she's going to be against G? Because they basically treating Agent June the same way they treat G. You can't do nothing without a man. You can't do nothing without me. Nothing, no motion you can get going is going to be without me. So we gonna see how it ends. We're gonna see how it's turned out. Episode 3, I'll put up episode 3 later on today. So thank you for watching. See you next time. It's about damn time. Deuces.